that is repeated there 4 times. Every verse begins with verse 25 on. Every verse 25, 26, 27 repeats with that particle. What is it? 4. F-O-R, 4. 4. It's repeated. Right? See it? What does that particle means? 4 means. 4 explains the reason. Jesus in verse 24 said, if anyone wants to follow me, let him deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. Then he said, why such high premium is placed on disciple? First reason, verse 25, 4, then 26, 4, and twice in 27, right? Or once in 27? Once in 27, okay. So every verse states a reason why discipleship is so important. Call the doctor, for my child is sick. The Greek word is gar. It explains the reason, gar. You can say it because, or because. You can translate it. It explains the reason. What are the reasons? There are some fundamental reasons. Why you have to deny, take up the cross and all these things. Because, what was the first reason? Yeah. Because for anyone who wants to save his life is going to lose his life. Anyone who wants to lose his life is going to. So there are 2 kinds of lives. One you have to lose to gain the other one. That is what the Lord says. We all have 2 kinds of life. One is our physical life, represented by the car we drive, the home we live in, the kind of school our children study, the kind of branded clothes we wear in. All those things, Yes, everything. Then there is another one. That's represented by other values. You want to gain the first one, you will lose the second one. You want to gain the second one, you will lose the first one. You decide. There is no way you can gain both. No. Whoever gains his life, means whoever gains his physical life, material life, the worldly life, he shall lose his spiritual life, heavenly life. Not going to heaven or not, that's not the issue. Gain this life means others are immediately dying. No. You say what we say, that you want to make a real life here, a real living here. We say people, man, he has some life. You got a life. Yeah. You have to get rid of that idea. That building on the other thing. You cannot build up both, no. No man can serve a master. That's impossible. You cannot have a life in heaven, meaningful, worthy life in heaven and a life on earth. That's impossible. Sacrifice has to be made. What sacrifice you will make? That's the question. There is a life that nobody can keep for very long. Jim Elliot has written in his diary. Jim Elliot, you all know by now who Jim Elliot is. Jim Elliot has written in his life, he is no fool who cannot, who throws away the life that he cannot keep for a life that he cannot lose. Means, this life, how carefully you manage 70 or 80 years, right? Then what do you do? Yesterday I went for the funeral of one of my good friends, a believer, a very godly man. Died of cancer. He was only late 40s or early 50s. Very vibrant man. Everybody loved him. Such a loving person. But he couldn't keep that life. It's gone. But thank God he got a life that he will never lose there because he lived such a way. So Jesus is saying, decide now. Discipleship is the way of losing this life to gain the other life. If you don't want discipleship, it's a way of gaining this life, but you will lose the other life. C.T. Studd, Charles Studd was a great man. He was one of the famous cricketers in England. 3 brothers, the Studd brothers. They were all great cricketers, the best cricketers for years, for the Oxford. They were. And they were billionaires, not millionaires. The home in which C.T. Studd was born and he inherited was as big or bigger than our presidential palace in Delhi. President's home. Bigger than that. Those who have read his biography have seen the picture of that one. Here I was reading the Gospels. He came to the verse, the Lord said to the rich man, sell all you have, give it to the poor. Come and follow me. The next day, he went out to an agent, real estate agent, and said, I want to sell my home. He sold it. He distributed that to people. The Moody Bible Institute gave some money. George Muller's orphanage, he gave some money. So many people. At that time, he was not married. He was only engaged. So 5,000 pounds, a check he has written and sent it to his, fiancée. Said that the Lord has commanded me to sell all that I have and give to the poor and follow. So I have sold my house and estate, and out of my love for you, I have reserved 5,000 pounds. And she returned back and said, Charlie, what did the Lord say? Sell all and save 5,000, or sell and give it to the poor? She sent back the check and said, give to the poor. He came to India. He was in Nilgiris. He cut 4 simple poles from the wood and put some grass on it. That was his home, sitting under it. I have seen the picture of both side by side, the big palatial mansion where he was born and brought up, and the little grass hut he lived in. I will say, C.T. Studd has chosen to lose this life to gain that life. Yes. The Lord said, you cannot have both. Once a Sunday school teacher was teaching the story of the Lazarus and the rich man. So when the story was over, he asked the children, you want to be like the rich man or the Lazarus? So everybody said, Lazarus. Everybody said. One young child said, sir, in this world like the rich man, and in heaven like Lazarus. He was smart. And the Lord said, you have no choice. You pick one. That's our problem. We are all thinking that in this world we can live like the rich man. When we get there, we'll be like Lazarus sitting in the lap of Abraham, the richest man in the world at that time. Wow. That would be good. No, the Lord said, no. No. You have to lose one life to gain the other life. What he gained? When you get to heaven, you will know that the mansion where he lives, what he gained. Yeah, what else? I mean, God is going to reward him and honor him. Huh? If he kept that one, then one day he will be given a memorial service in the front yard where everybody thinking it, then he will be buried. But then when he reaches there will be a grass hut for him. Yes, there is no question about it. The Lord said it. Lord is not saying everybody has to sell his property. He told that only to one person, right? He never said that a blanket statement, everybody has to sell. No. But he said everybody has to forsake. That is it. Unless you forsake all you have, you cannot be my disciple. We'll come to that when we talk more about it. So there is a forsaking, not a selling by everybody, but a forsaking by. What have you forsaken to gain the other life? That is not decided by what you gave. It is decided by what you keep. You got it? Say you get 1 lakh rupees every month, which is not a big amount nowadays for you people, I know that. Nothing. And say that you, out of that 1 lakh rupees, you gave 25,000 rupees every month to the Lord. Everybody will consider that's a big, 25% of giving is great. But the Lord is saying that, but you kept 75,000, didn't you? I gave you 1 lakh, you kept 75,000. Why did you keep 75,000? You could have lived on 25 and gave me back 75,000. Lord, after all, it is you gave me. So the Lord is not going to look at the bigness of the amount you gave, but the bigness of the amount or the size of the amount you kept. We all judge it the other way. Oh, we count the offerings and we said, today, man, there were, somebody put 5,000, 5,000 rupee note fresh from the bank. Wow, some of our brothers are learning to give. But nobody said, I'd like to know that how much this man kept back. Those who wanted life over there to be made rich, they will spend the minimum and give the maximum. That's very difficult, right? Yeah, it's very difficult. That's why discipleship is not for everybody. But the Lord said, make everybody, make disciples of all nation. But everybody cannot be made disciples, because the Lord said, if any man wants to, come after me. That's a question you have to decide. But there is no other way. There is no other way. The premium is very high. Very high premium the Lord has put on discipleship. Yes. Somebody may be living very comfortably. The Lord doesn't say that you have to make yourself uncomfortable to be a disciple. Oh no. The thing the Lord is asking, what sacrifices were involved in your situation? I may have made big sacrifices, that may not be a sacrifice for the other person at all. Maybe pittance. For everybody, Lord is asking, what sacrifice have you made? Did you sacrifice anything for my sake to follow me? Or everything you carried out the way you wanted? You also gave God lots of money, because I gave you so much money, so without hurting your plans, you gave. Everybody was happy you gave that much, but I was not happy, because it involved no sacrifice. In another sense, you made life in this world very meaningful, and you are thinking that life will be made meaningful there, but when you reach there, you will find out that no, that widow who shared only 2 mites will be very rich there. That's how the Lord, not the amount of money you gave, but what you kept back. She gave all she had, means she didn't keep back anything. The rich people were throwing money, the Lord saw it. They were putting huge amounts. But the Lord didn't appreciate them, because they were keeping bigger amount at home back, in the bank and in the safe deposit and everywhere, in the gold and silver and all that. So Lord was not impressed by it, but Lord was impressed by that widow who cast all she had. She didn't keep back anything. That's what the Lord called sacrifice. Yeah, discipleship is difficult, right? Yes, it is. We never have enough for our needs, right? Well, if we had better money, we would have bought a Mercedes Benz, right? An Audi or BMW or Ferrari. Well, that much we want. We are spiritual people. So. A Rolls Royce maybe. want everybody to look around and say, hey, Ferrari coming. Oh boy, if you by accidentally touch, your insurance you won't even cover that. Yeah. That's not the way to think. Car is a necessity these days. I don't think it's a sin. You don't become unspiritual because you have a car. Because, our movement is much wider and bigger than the days of Jesus. Jesus never traveled more than 50 kilometers in his life. Yeah. We are traveling every day, how much? See, yesterday I was in Kerala. 6 o'clock I went to Kerala yesterday, and today by 6 o'clock I left from there and landed here at 10 o'clock. So how many kilometers from here to Kerala? Yeah, well, see. So how many times I traveled, the distance Jesus traveled in his life. This is 1 lakh kilometers every year for the last about 30-35 years I have traveled. Yes, 1 lakh kilometers. Because my car itself has 50,000 kilometers every year. I looked at it. It was 8 years, 4.5 lakh kilometers it completed. It's all for the Lord's work. Then I traveled by train, by bus, by plane. You add them up. But that's a lot of mileage we are traveling. So we need a car. But what is the purpose of a car? Tell me. On this line there is a Ferrari, there is a BMW, and there is a Mercedes Benz, and there is our old Bolero Jeep or whatever you want to call it, old ambassador car or old whatever it is. From point A to point B, all of us have to go. The purpose of a vehicle is to take you from one point to another point. So you want to make sure that you are not break down 5 times, then you cannot reach there. So you want a car that will take you there. That's all. What is the purpose of the car? I don't see any other purpose. Oh well, comfort. What is comfort? I am comfortable sitting there for 1 hour or half an hour. What comfort? This is not heaven on earth or anything. So why 60 lakh? Why? How many? 5 crores for a Rolls Royce? For a Ferrari? Why? Just for the show of it. You wanted to call it your name, your fame. A rich man living in London, he was to visit India. So he has taken his car to the bank there, said, I want to mortgage this this car and take a loan of 5,000 pounds. The car was cost 5 crores, rupees. So the people said, you are driving a car that costs 5 crores rupees, you just want 5,000 rupees loan on it. Why? He said, I wanted you to take care of my car when I go away. Otherwise, if I park somewhere, somebody, but you are a bank. If my car is damaged, I can sue you. Isn't he smart? Yeah, if you want to go somewhere, expensive car, put somewhere, you mortgage it to a bank. The bank will take it safe custody. And when you come back, whatever interest you want to give, 500 rupees or something, take it. Because for a day in the other place for parking, you have to pay 5,000 rupees. Here you gain, you are a businessman. Well, my point is this one. We have to lose this life, not die. We have to lose the comforts, the values, and the richness and all of this life to make a life there. The Lord said it. You cannot hold on to what you have and then find it, up there. No, you cannot. The second verse, the second reason said what?
What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his
For what? Suppose you enter into business, this and that one, you bought, you bought the what district is this one? Powai. Come under? All metropolitan. You purchase the whole metropolis of Bombay. Whole. Then you decided you will buy the whole Maharashtra. Then you decided you will buy the whole North India, South India. Then you made a bid on America, Great Britain, France, every country in the world. So now you are the owner of, yes, every newspaper carry your picture, the owner of the world, because everybody is a tenant under you. Then you die. You reach there. You don't have a cent of land there. You are shown a shack there. Stay here. This is your eternal home. Asking, can you exchange all this world? Saying, Lord, I will give all this world in my name. If you will give me just a reasonably decent place in heaven, you can't do that. So what's the profit? 60 years of luxury versus billions of years. Yeah, eternity. You are not in hell, you are in heaven. You are on the veranda, one corner there. Yeah. The security guard who is watching the governor's mansion is also living in the governor's mansion, right around there. Yeah. So that's a nice thing, right? Yeah, the chowkidar who is taking, or the peon who is washing the floor of the Supreme Court, he is spending more time in the Supreme Court than the Chief Justice there. But there is a difference, right? Even maybe occasionally when nobody is there, he sits on the chair of the Chief Justice and see what's the feel of it. But he cannot tell anybody. Maybe in his biography he said that every night for an hour I sat on the Chief Justice's, seat. And I delivered many judgments. See, that's our situation in heaven. The Lord said there is difference between the glory of a star and another star. Even so is the resurrected body. Everybody is not going to be shining the same way. There will be 5 paisa worth candles burning there in heaven, while the glorious sun in all the glory is shining there. You have these glittering bugs, what do you call them? Lightning bugs. Yeah, in the night you can see. Glowworms. Some believers will be glowworms there. Others will be stars and moons and suns and all. That's what the Lord said. Even if you gain everything in this world, if you lose that life there, man, the glory of that there, what are you going to give in exchange? You cannot go to the Lord and say, Lord, I want to make a deal. What deal, son? Downstairs I have all that world I gain. I'm going to give half of that to you. You give me a quarters next to Paul. Huh? Or Peter. Paul said, Lord said, you cannot. You cannot give nothing in exchange. So then the wise man will invest for the future. He will say that, whatever 60 or 70 years, whatever 40, 50 years, whatever it is, I'll suffer for that one. But I want to be somebody there. I want to be comfortable there. Man, I want to be there somebody. But you decide what you want. Both you cannot have. That's what the Lord said. Both you cannot have. Yes. You cannot give anything. All your material accomplishment in this world cannot be given as a substitute for a glorious life up there. If only our believers will be taught and they understand this, they will throw this away and say, I'll go for that. I'll go for that. Well, everybody does not have the same sacrifices because, but sacrifices are sacrifices only when the Lord will value it. You should feel the pinch of it. If you don't feel that pinch of it, then. And verse 27.
For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay each person according to what he has done.
There is a day of judgment, reckoning how you live. The Son of Man is going to come and
With his angels in the glory of his Father.
yes, and then
Then he will repay each person according to
repay each person according to
yes,
what he has done with time, what he has done with opportunity, what he has done with talents, what he has done with money, what he has done with children. Everything in your life is going to be judged. Yes. So considering that day, that's going to be a terrible day for somebody. Terrible has two meanings, Somebody do something great, you got 100 out of 100 for an A+ straight and he's the first rank. He said, terrible son, terrible. And another son comes with all zeros. It's terrible. The same word but two meanings, right? Yeah, that's what it is. So the Lord is going to tell to somebody terrible, to somebody say terrible. Which terrible are you going to have? The horrible terrible? You decide, it's for you now to decide. As a city stud has decided it. The 5 young people, Jim Elliot and what were the other, I've forgotten all their names. Saint, but one of them Saint, one of them was, yeah. I had the privilege of meeting one of the widows of Rosman. She was married to a professor in Chicago, after her husband. So one day they invited me for dinner in their home and I had the privilege of talking to them. It was a great time. Yes. So I told some stories of their experiences there and all. Man, I couldn't swallow my food because, the feelings there, as we sat around. Yeah, great. So the reward they're going to get there. Even those women, widows, when they went back to those Auca Indians, man. Yeah, you remember that? It was 1957. I still remember the newspaper headings and everything. Some of the papers said, what a waste is this Christianity. 5 energetic, educated, young people were thrown to the cannibals under the love of Christ. What is it? They didn't understand what it was. No, they didn't. Newspapers did. It was a sacrifice most costly and most respectable for the Lord. Yes. Yes, so the Lord said the Son of Man is going to come and sit on the judgment seat for the believers, and everyone will be cold, and the Lord will say that, son, I have given you this much opportunity, this much education, this much property, this much, this.